Yes, thanks for tuning in to another Tips and Tricks Tuesday. I'm Kayak Maniac, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the pre-spawn. We're going to go over the hows, the whens, and the wheres concerning this pattern with these fish. So let's get started.
Shit, alright, what's up guys? We got the fishy. Check out that. Nice fishy.
It is the prime time to catch those big bass. They're constantly feeding. They're constantly gaining weight to get ready for laying their eggs and everything like that. They are very aggressive and they're active all over. So it's the best time to go out and catch those fish and try to catch your personal best. And here, where I live in New Jersey, the pre-spawn doesn't start till about May or June, especially when the water starts to warm up, or the weather starts to warm up and then the water warms up behind it. You're definitely looking for a couple of pleasant days in a row where the water temperature can start rising from, the low 30s to about the mid 40s, and that's when those bass will start changing patterns and start getting ready for the pre-spawn. Now let's talk about the where. Here where I live, I fish a lot of natural lakes, so again I'm looking for a lot of grass points, a lot of shallow flats, and a lot of regular points where these fish could be hanging out and pushing up when they're entering the pre-spawn. If you're fishing like a reservoir or something like that, you're definitely looking for creeks, different channels of water, or somewhere where there's water coming in from, another body of water into the main area of the water. You definitely want to check that out. The bait fish could be pushed up and the bass could be feeding heavily up there. So basically, you're looking for ditches, channels, anything like that in a reservoir. Now, let's talk about the how. So with the pre-spawn, it's definitely a difficult time to fish because the pattern is always changing. But the biggest thing you can do to help yourself is to be prepared beforehand. And what I mean by that is, go on Google Maps, which is what I do. Take a look at the satellite images and take a look at the body of water you're fishing. Look for those different points. Look for different areas you might want to try out and see where those fish could be. If you prepare yourself then, you'll spend less time out in the water looking for these areas and trying to find those fish. So I recommend being prepared beforehand, doing a little studying, really checking out the body of water you're fishing. That way you can maximize the amount of time you get out on the water catching those fish rather than just searching for them the whole time. But put in the time, look for those different drop-offs, look for those different grass lines. There could be areas where you didn't even know existed in the lake. Definitely take the time to look it up and be prepared for when you hit the water. Once you're out in the water, you want to throw a lot of moving baits. You want to try to get those fish to react. You want to try to cover as much water as possible so you can find the pattern of where they're hiding. If they're deeper or if they're coming up shallow, you definitely want to find that as quickly as possible. Once you do find that, once you find the pattern, once you find a school of fish where they're feeding heavily, you definitely want to change baits from a moving one to a more subtle bait where you could throw something a little bit smaller, something to still get the reaction, but you don't need to go as heavy on the moving bait. Slow down and go subtle, and simple always works, so just remember that. Biggest thing with the pre-spawn, it's all about the patterns, it's all about patience. It can change on the flip of a coin. You could be fishing for 1 hour and it's the greatest fishing of your life, and then the next hour they're dead silent, no reaction, they're not active at all. It definitely depends on the water levels, the water temp, the weather, and everything around you. So the pre-spawn is definitely difficult, so don't get frustrated. Just be ready for anything and prepare yourself as much as you can. So that's it for me on this Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in. This was all about the pre-spawn, how, when, and where to fish this type of pattern. And I hope to see you guys out in the water soon. Gotta wait for all the snow to melt, and I'll be out in the water. Can't wait for the pre-spawn. It's one of my favorite times to fish, and let's go catch that personal best. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Peace.